Hello, it's Joe here, and in this video, we're going to build out a network using VLANs, which will use inter-VLAN routing and ACLs to control how we want this data to travel across the network. So before we start into it, I already created out this network, or this lab, or whatever you want to call it, and I took a screenshot, because for me, I find that if I can have an idea of what I'm going to do before I actually do it, it'll help me retain the information and just give me a better idea of how to implement this in a network. So before we start and before we just dive into the command line interface, I just want to go over some of these commands first, and then we'll actually dive in and build out this network. So as you can see, we have 4 VLANs, right? We have a student VLAN, a staff VLAN, a staff printer VLAN, and a student printer VLAN. The goal of this is we only want students to be able to print from a student printer, and we only want staff to be able to print from a staff printer. If a student tries to print to a staff printer, we want to deny it. So we're going to basically be permitting and denying this traffic through ACL rules. We're also going to be setting up the inter-VLAN routing, and as you can see, we have the commands here. And essentially what these commands do, like the int g0/0.10 is just a sub interface for VLAN 10, and the encapsulation .1q10, that's a command that just tells the router that this sub interface will handle traffic for VLAN 10. Now the IP address 192.168.10.1, that's just the default gateway. It just helps the router route traffic to other networks or VLANs. So we're going to be configuring 4 of these, and these will be on the G0/0 interface. The switch virtual interface, it basically allows you to not have to get additional physical hardware, because normally if these didn't exist, you would need to have like 4 lines, right? So this just allows you to do it virtually. And then we have the ACL rules. So up to this point, once this is all configured to here, this network's going to work. However, PCs are going to be able to print from the staff printer, and staff printer they'll be able to print to the student printer, and there's going to be like no rules, right? So we're going to create access control lists to permit and deny traffic, and this is where we make these rules where only students can print to student printers and only staff can print to staff printers. So that's a brief overview. Feel free, take a screenshot of this so that you can use this as a reference as we build out this network. Alright, so I'm going to slide this over here, and we're going to get into it. Alrighty, so first things first, we're going to need a router. I'll just get 2911. We need a switch. I'll just get 2960. We'll get 4 PCs. Here's a trick. Hold down the left control, left click, and it will create copies of it. Get a printer. There we go. So we got 2 PCs here, PC here. This will be a student PC1. This will be student PC2. I'm going to move kind of fast here just because we already went over the network topology of what we're going to build out. So let's see, staff PC2. This is going to be S1. This is going to be R1. This is going to be student printer, staff printer. Perfect. Slide these down here. Slide this here. Staff here. Student here. Okay. Now let's set up the connection. So first, let's go up here. Go preferences, always just display labels and ports or whatever. Click on that. And we're going to go, where are we at here? We're going to go G0, whatever, G00, F01, F02, F03, F04, F05, F06, F07. Now this might seem a little bit overkill, but I like just taking the notepad and just documenting just like the port information. It just helps me out, so when I get in the command line, it makes my life so much easier. I make less mistakes. Again though, just a shortcut, left control click, and you can just copy this. I believe this is 5, and this is going to be VLAN 20. This is going to be VLAN 4. This is going to be 7, and I believe this one is 40. This is going to be 6, and this is going to be VLAN 30. And this is going to be G0/0, and this is going to be the SVI, and then FA0/1, that's going to be our trunk. Perfect. So now if I go like this and disable this, it's just going to make it a lot easier. So FA0/2. Go like this. I just like things to be like organized before I do it. Printer here. We'll put this here. Okay, we'll go like this. Okay, got it now. Alrighty, now let's figure out the IP addresses. So 192.168.10.10/24 VLAN 10. 192.168.10.11/24 VLAN 10. 192.168.20.10. No, this would be .11/24.VLAN 20. This one will be .10. 192.168.20.10/24 VLAN 20. Staff printer is going to be 192.168.40.2 VLAN 40. Student printer is going to be 192.168.30.2/24 VLAN 30. Perfect. So I tried out to make it easier. You notice how the IP's 10, VLAN's 10, 20, VLAN 20. Just makes it easier, just for this lab. Okay, so you know what? Actually, I'm gonna assign the IP addresses on these computers before I get. I've done that before, where like I forget to do this and my network isn't working, and I have no idea why. It's good times. So we got that there. Desktop. Nope. IP configuration. .11. Default gateway. .1. This will be 20.11. 20.1. This will be 10. Those are done. Now the printer now. It's going to be 192.168.40.1. Interface. Change that to a 2. Alright. Now student printer. 192.168.30.1. Interface. .2. Perfect. Okay, so we got all the IPs for the host devices figured out. I'm just going to turn on this router. T, and we're going to go int G0/0 no shut. We're also going to change the name to R1. I already hit this a couple times. And just to make it look a little bit pretty here, I'm just going to go fill color. We'll go orange. And then I'll slide this PC in here more, so we know what's what. And then we'll go back here and we'll do the other color. Oh, select fill color. We'll go like this, and we'll go perfect. Okay, sweet. Okay, so now let's actually start diving into creating the VLANs. So we'll click on the switch, we'll go command line interface, we'll go en conf t hostname switch 1, just to make it look pretty. And then, yeah, VLAN time. So VLAN 10, oh, should be typing in here. VLAN 10, name, student, exit. VLAN 20, name, staff, exit. VLAN 30, name, student, printer, exit. VLAN 40, name, staff, printer, exit. Do show VLAN brief. Okay, we got all four there. Perfect. All right, let's create the trunk port for this interface. So int fa0/1 switch port mode trunk, and then we'll go switch port trunk allowed VLAN. And just so you know, we're gonna use all, but you see how you could add like specific, you could add VLANs to the current list. You have a bunch of different options. We're gonna use all. Exit. Okay, that's done. Now we're gonna set up the switch ports into access mode. So we're gonna go int range. Oh no, I gotta go conf t int range fa0/2-3 switch port mode access VLAN 10. Done. Okay, we'll do int range fa0/4-5. So we're doing these two. Switch port mode access VLAN 20. Perfect. That's done. Now let's do the printer VLAN. So int fa0/7 switch port mode access VLAN 40. Exit. Int fa0/6 switch port mode access VLAN 30. So now we can see what's associated with what. So we got the FA. Oh yeah, I just show VLAN brief. FA02 just to verify. 45, 45, 67, 67. We'll type in show interface trunk. Oh, show interface trunk, and then we'll see trunk FA0/1 VLANs allowed on trunk 1 through 1005. And right now it shows the active VLANs. So we have the native VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40. So awesome. Okay, sweet. So the VLANs and the switch are configured. So let's dive into the router now. So I'm going to hit this a couple times. Okay, router time. So I think, yeah, I changed the name already. Okay. So now, yeah, we're going to set up the switch virtual interfaces. So int g0/0.10 encapsulation .10 IP address 192.168.10.1. Boom, that one's done. Int g0/0.20 encapsulation .20 IP address 192.168.20.1. Oh, almost did a mistake. Exit. All right, next one, g0/0.30. And then we'll do IP address 192.168.30.1, 255.255.255.0. All right, exit. Last one. I'll go enter encapsulation .40. We'll do IP address 192.168.40.1, 255.255.255.0. Perfect. Okay. The moment of truth. So let me just match this a couple times. Now, everything should technically be able to ping each other. Sometimes it fails, but if you do it again, it will succeed, staff to staff, failed, but it should work now, successful, it'll fail, but then it'll work. So we'll just delete these. we'll just match it. So this is what I was talking about. Without the ACL rules, everything's just going to be able to reach everything. There's just no guidelines, I guess you could say. What I mean is, there isn't like any rules for this network to follow. So everything's just going to permit everything. So to fix that, we're gonna create some ACL rules that's going to fix this issue. So let's click on this router here. Make sure you're in config mode, and we're going to create our access list. So we got access list 100, permit IP 192.168.10.0, 0.0.0.255, host 192.168.30.2. So if we look at this, we're creating an access list. It's going to be identified as 100. We're permitting the IP address 192.168.10.0 network onto host 192.168.30.2, the printer. So I'm going to hit enter. Then we're going to go access list 100, deny IP any host 192.168.30.2. So this just says we're adding this to the access list 100, and it says deny any IP, so deny IP any to host the printer. And hit enter. Then now we're going to go to int g0/0.30 virtual sub interface, and we're going to apply this as an outbound rule. Exit. Okay, that one's done. Now we're going to create a rule for staff to access the staff printer. So access list 110, permit IP 192.168.20.0, 0.0.0.255, host 192.168.40.2. And when you see this right here, the 0.0.0, this is an inverted wildcard mask. So this is just saying match these three addresses identical, like 192.168.20. But then the last address, 255, that means any address between 0 and 255 that will be allowed to access the printer. So like 1 through 254 on the 20.40.2 staff printer. So we're going to hit enter, and we'll access list 110, and we'll go deny IP any host 192.168.40.2, hit enter, and then we'll go int g0/0.40 for the virtual interface, and we're going to go IP access group and apply the 110 to the outbound. Perfect. Awesome. Now everything should work. They're going to match this a couple times, and we're going to start testing this out. So student to student, student to staff, failed. Staff to staff, work. And then staff to student, fail. So everything works. Now, before I wrap this up, the idea of this video was just to give you an idea of how to create a network using VLANs and using inter-VLAN routing and ACLs to control that data. Could the ACLs be better or more specific? Sure, but my goal is just to give you like a roadmap so that you can use this lesson to help you on your journey with networking, right? Just to give you like a good starting point off. So if you made it up to here and you like this video, give it a thumbs up, it will help out. And if there's anything else you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments section and I'll make a note of that. So thanks for watching. Enjoy your day, morning, evening, or whatever it is. Alrighty, take her easy.